I think the buildings we're designing now, we still will be occupying in 50 years' time, but I'm hoping that the buildings that we're designing in the next 5 to 10 years will be very different in terms of thinking about that designing for reuse and disassembly. So I think we're at a cusp or a turning point at the moment. We're still building conventionally in that respect, but at some point the industry needs to change and think about that longer term reuse and repurposing approach. And with the modern methods of construction, I think we'll start to see that come in more and more. So I first heard about Cundall back in 2004. I was an engineer with another engineering consultancy and had been doing about 4 or 5 years worth of consulting from a sort of graduate to senior consultant in the mechanical engineering space. So I'd been working on everything from offices to a few data centres and other things. And anyway, I saw this report by this company called Cundall, and it was full of all these amazing graphics and images and sketches. And it was very different to what we'd been producing, which is very much sort of engineering, design documentation and like 25-page report of text. So I was like, who are these people? I want to find out a little bit more about them, and that's how I found out about Cundall. I joined in Sydney back in 2005. It was a relatively smaller office back then. I think there was probably 6 to 8 people in the office, and yeah, it was a really vibrant time. Lots of interesting stuff happening. It was sort of the early days of sustainability consulting, still figuring out what to do. Green Star had only just been released after I joined, and yeah, we just were pioneering the way on lots of different projects. So I'd been with Cundall about 3 years, and then there was murmurings around opening up in Asia, and we actually planned the Shanghai office first, but very soon after we decided to look into Hong Kong. I wasn't actually part of that early planning, but I heard about it, and somehow an opportunity came up, and I just put my hand up and said, that sounds interesting. So I went with no real understanding of what Hong Kong was like, but I knew that there was a lot of exciting projects over that side of the world, and of a size and scale that we really wanted to get into, so that was what drew us there. When I first got there and explained that we did sustainability, people were a bit confused. They said, what do you do? Do you put trees on buildings? Or I got that was a fairly common one, or where do you plant things for this? So I had to sort of explain what it was. But very quickly that market grew to understand what the benefits of sustainability were and sustainable design. It grew very quickly, so it was a fast adopter. For me, it's very much about understanding what a client means when they ask a question or give an instruction, and I guess challenging it in a positive way and sort of saying, what do you mean by that? What do you really want? And I think one of the strengths of Cundall is I think we're the engineers that ask the questions back, so that when a client's not quite sure what they want, we're the ones to try and interpret what they need and help them rewrite the brief, rather than just strictly following the brief because that's what the client said. And I think that's what it means to really go beyond when dealing with a client. I think always ask people to, I guess, challenge what they're doing. Is there a better way to do things? Is there a different way, something to improve what we're doing? So don't just do what we did previously, think of a different way to do it. And I think in terms of that one Cundall approach, it's really talk amongst people as well. Find out if anyone else has got some knowledge, access that knowledge at a wider level, and find out if there's anything else that'll inspire you to do things in a different way. Going back to Hong Kong, we did a lot of work with government projects. So we were working on big hospitals. We did Hong Kong Science Park, police stations, which were sort of 15 to 20-story high-rise police stations, things like that. But probably the most interesting one was Hong Kong Children's Hospital. So we worked with the architects in the tender stage, so it's a competitive tender, and they have these huge, great big rectangular block, 600-bed hospitals. And we actually got the architect to change the design from the big square block into an H block, so there were very large atriums. And the whole concept was about bringing the outdoors indoor, for patient care and recovery. So Hong Kong's got quite hot, humid weather, and you can't necessarily go out to the garden all year round and respite. So at those times, there's lots of places where, in that case, the children could go and sit and they'd be close to nature or close to sort of open areas. And the government architects took it on board, and that hospital is absolutely massive. And if you go there, there's these giant atriums, and we effectively help change that. So we are able now to work regionally with lots of people in different locations, so we can have people all around the world working on projects live together at any one time. So there's a lot more consistency around that and less reliance on having to have people all in one location. We see lots of interesting and smart computer analytics. We've got modelling, we've got energy modelling that's more advanced. We've got structural modelling that can now feed in and out of architectural modelling. So I think the development of all of those tools is only going to mean probably more time to do the smarter, clever engineering and less time in the production side of things. It's really easy to access knowledge, to get help. People are very willing to help each other out. And even though we're very far spread out, we're actually quite close.